Amnesty International warns Nigerians against crackdown on peaceful #FreeLunamdekanu now protesters. Good day, my dear listeners. Thanks for joining. Today I bring to you the fresh details coming to your listening ears as the Amnesty International warns Nigerians against crackdown on peaceful #FreeLunamdekanu now protesters. Moving on to the full details, kindly please ensure you like, subscribe to this channel and share. Global Human Rights Organization Amnesty International has raised the alarm over reports of attempt by Nigerian security forces to suppress peaceful demonstrations in Abuja, calling for the release of the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Mazi Nnamdi. In a statement issued on Monday amid the ongoing protest in Abuja, Amnesty International said it had received disturbing reports of attempt to crack down on the peaceful protesters. The statement emphasized the fundamental rights of Nigerians to peaceful assembly and warned that any form of intimidation, violence, or restriction against lawful protesters would constitute a breach of constitutional and international human rights obligations. People must be allowed to freely exercise their right to peaceful protest. Any act capable of undermining freedom of assembly is illegal and portrays unacceptable intolerance of peaceful dissent, Amnesty International stated. The organization urged the Nigerian authorities to ensure that law enforcement agencies act within the bounds of the law, adding that security forces have a duty not only to respect but also to facilitate citizens' rights to protest. The Nigerian authorities must ensure that security agencies respect and facilitate the right to peaceful protest, as guaranteed by both the country's own constitution and human rights treaties, including the African Charter on Human and People's Rights and the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, to which Nigeria is a state party, the statement added. The warning comes amid the heavy joint security forces crackdown on peaceful protesters, demanding the unconditional release of Kanu, who has been in the custody of the Department of State Services (DSS) since his rearrest in Kenya and extradition to Nigeria in June 2021. Sahara Reporters earlier reported that human rights activist Omoyele Sowore accused Nigerian security operatives of launching an unprovoked attack and shooting live bullets at the Free Nnamdi peaceful protesters in Abuja. Speaking on the morning brief on Channels Television, Sowore alleged that security forces opened fire at the protesters shortly after the protest began in front of the Transcorp Hilton Hotel, where protesters had gathered to demand the release of the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB, Mazi Nnamdi. Sowore, former presidential candidate of the African Action Congress (AAC), alleged that a combined team of the police, soldiers, and civil defense personnel carried out the operation, firing both tear gas and live ammunition to disperse the protesters. There were about 10 trucks that arrived as soon as we started the protest. There was no provocation on our part, like we had promised. It was an orderly and peaceful protest, Shewere said. Suddenly from nowhere, they started shooting at us, tear gas and some live bullets were fired. Luckily, I don't think anybody was hit with live bullets, but they were just shooting all around us. He urged the Nigerian government to present its evidence before the court instead of resorting to repression. Police had earlier deployed officers along key routes leading to the presidential villa, while Eagle Square, Unity Fountain, and the 3 Arm Zone were heavily fortified. Access roads to the Federal Secretariat and surrounding areas were barricaded, with motorists and pedestrians denied entry. Sahara reporters earlier reported at the Unity Fountain, the rally, its planned takeoff point, was sealed off and patrolled by heavily armed security personnel, making the area completely inaccessible. In another incident, a combined team of soldiers and police officers fired tear gas at a crowd near the Nigerian Union of Journalists (NUJ) Secretariat in Utako. So yeah, my dear listeners, now we've come to the end of our today's news. Please do drop by the comment section and let's know what your view is all about. Thank you for listening.